building off of this, we go back to square one. We're back at the bottom again, and that's really all 32 teams. If you feel otherwise, you're probably missing the big picture. You know, we're back at. We got to start from scratch. We got to start from the fundamentals.
Do we agree with Ben Johnson? Do they have to start from scratch again, or can they sustain this success?
They have to. They're starting from scratch, and here's the reason. He knows he can't rely on Caleb Williams' witchery in the fourth quarter to win all of these games. You heard him mention the fundamentals. The fundamentals play a part in the first quarter and in the second quarter in putting you in a position where you don't need 7 fourth-quarter comebacks in order to put yourself in a place where you're in a divisional playoff round. They know they have to be better earlier. They can't rely on turnovers the way they did defensively. But the way that this team progressed throughout the season, it's not starting from square one in this sense. Square one was where he was at the beginning of this season and in the offseason. This team knows more about themselves now and more about the players on this roster along with their head coach. They have an MVP candidate at the quarterback position and a perennial Coach of the Year candidate in Ben Johnson.
I agree with what you said, but I also love the fact that Ben Johnson has that attitude because what he's saying is he's not taking anything for granted. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Last season, this past season was this past season. They ain't got a damn thing to do with next season. You guys don't show up, you know what, we'll lose. We're in the NFC North. The Vikings ain't going to stay down. The Packers ain't going to stay down. Detroit ain't going to stay down. We got our work cut out for us. It was nice that we had the season that we had, but we came up short with one of the 31 other teams that ain't going to win the Super Bowl championship, and that's the reality of the situation. They got to improve their defense, their pass rush definitely, their secondary. They were decimated by injuries. They got to improve upon all of those things. But most importantly, you know what? It's the culture. It's the attitude. It starts with Ben Johnson, and he's letting you know he's already at work. There ain't no way he's going to sit on his hands and rest on the laurels of what happened this season. That's the attitude that you have to infuse in these Chicago Bears in order for the culture to continue to elevate. I love the fact that he said what he said. It was the right thing to say because it's the absolute truth.
Yeah, I loved what he said, too. And, Ryan, to go back to your point, I remember week 1 against the Vikings. It was Monday Night Football. The second half, they had a double-digit lead, and they let it completely go away. There was no fight at the end of the game. That obviously changed as the season progressed. They became this cardiac Bears. That's what they relied on. They're not going to be that same team week 1, and they're certainly not going to – you never know with injuries and how the ways things might go. But what I know for certain is Caleb Williams takes away that last throw that he had in the game against the Rams. He knows he can't make that mistake again. So hopefully these kind of learning curves that they had throughout the season – and Green Bay will continue into next year. But
they resonate with you. The first thing he said, you loved it.
This is more important to me than anything that he accomplished on the field this year. He gets it. He understands it. Chicago, don't be Washington of last year that has all those comeback wins, and it jades exactly who you are. This was a football team that, because of the magic late in game, it overshadowed some of their deficiencies. I think the great thing that you walk away from is you know you got a great coach and you know you have a really up-and-coming, promising quarterback that you feel great about. Can Ben Johnson take the Caleb Williams that he had oftentimes in the fourth quarter and get him to show up in quarters 1, 2, 3? If they do, they're Super Bowl contenders next year. But his understanding of, no. We are rebuilding this thing from the ground up again. It's a higher floor that we're rebuilding off of. But I cannot love what Ben Johnson said more.
To me, clearly, it's the defensive side of the ball where they have to improve. What you can't count on is, what do they have, 32 takeaways or whatever the number wound up being.
And again, the comebacks.
That's what you can't count on. Well, and part of that is that their defense, they're coming back. The defense was bad, but opportunistic. Usually those things turn around. You're going to become bad and not opportunistic, and now all of a sudden your season falls off. They should spend their entire offseason or whatever resources they have, the majority of them, to building the defense.
And they will.
I think they're in great shape, personally.
I think they're in great shape as well. And even that mindset, to Dan's point, is what the difference maker is with Ben Johnson and why we were so excited about him in last year's coaching carousel. When you look at what he's been able to do with Caleb Williams and his team, you know he's going to get buy-in from the team. That this is something to build on. He can say that all he wants to. That is the mindset he needs to have. But this year was absolutely an opportunity to build on. And for him, for Caleb, where he can get better is still playing within structure. He's so great outside the pocket in impromptu plays, but you really get the benefit of Ben Johnson's offense when you learn to play between the tackles and in timing and in rhythm.
Let me bounce this thought off you. And I know that I've heard so much they're a candidate for regression, and I understand the reasons why. I've seen the numbers. I know why people are saying that. But I also think we're always looking for who's going to be the next ones. Who's going to be the next ones? So what has the standard been in recent years? It's been Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. If you had to bet on someone who have the traits of a young Andy Reid and a young Patrick Mahomes, I don't think he could do a whole lot better than Ben Johnson, who has kind of taken this offense to a different place, right? Andy Reid took the traditional West Coast offense and morphed it into something kind of his own. I feel like Ben Johnson has done that too. Patrick Mahomes brought a ridiculous skill set. I mean, the kind of thing that almost no one has ever had in history, and then ultimately turned himself into a great fundamental quarterback with that. If Caleb Williams can take that step, I don't see why this couldn't be the next iteration of those two guys.
Oh, yeah, and I think this could be the next power in the NFC. Because don't forget, Ryan Poles, the general manager, has done a good job building a roster. He fortified the offensive line, Shefty. He's going to fortify that defense, or at least make that attempt to. I think the next step for the Bears, I truly believe this, the next step for the Bears is going to be, can you get Caleb to just truly understand misses? If he just gets out of his game some of those head-scratching misses that showed up still too much this year, it's a rocket ship, and I truly believe it'll be an NFC power for years to come.
All right, we're going on here on Get Up. We have a message from our buddy Wilkes. Very sad we couldn't make it today, knowing how wrong Orlovsky was about the Bills and Patriots while I went 4-0. He wanted to point that out. I would like to point out the settings on his treadmill.
This is embarrassing.
Yeah.
He is doing a 12 incline at 3 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You know who else does that?
Your wife.
My wife, Tiffany. She's the mother of triplets. She has 4 kids.
Yep.
That's the workout that Compton is doing
That's
this morning.
embarrassing, dude. That's the housewife workout.
He was warming up, bro.
That's the housewife workout to try to get the glutes to look the way that they want. I guess Will's in that world.
It's important to him. It matters.
So I'm sure Will's delighted that he sent that in now. Anyway, let's get back to Hembo here and see how this goes. So, Sneaky Hembo, who is the last quarterback? Matthew Stafford has thrown 49 touchdowns this year, including playoffs. Who was the last quarterback to enter conference championship weekend with more? Shefty, how's your poker face? Can I show it to you? See if so we could. Go ahead, Danny.
So my
option.
Right.
There's only 2 options, I really truly believe. One, Brady when he was in Tampa, and I think he got to 50, but I don't believe it was entering conference championship weekend. 'Cause I remember arguing with people on the internet, unsurprisingly, about it.
You arguing with people on the internet?
I'm gonna say in 2018 when Patrick had 55 and went to the AFC title game.
Mahomes?
Patrick Mahomes, 2018.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Incorrect.
It has happened more recently. And it was Aaron Rodgers in an MVP season of 2020. It was that same year, including playoffs. Yes. He
46
entered
in
the
the
title
regular
game,
season.
and he threw 3 in an NFC championship game, lost to Tampa and Tom Brady that year. So the answer was Rodgers.
So he had 50 going into the NFC title game?
Correct.
Playoffs
He
and
was the
regular
MVP that season. That was the last great run. that they had.
I could have used the lob
in
there.
Green Bay.
I could have used the lob on that one.
That's all right. Compton gave it to you. Okay, let's finish it up where we began it today.